Welcome to this beautiful and awesome lesson. All right, guys, in this episode, we are going to build our second calculator, okay? But in this calculator, we want it to be more advanced than what we built previously, okay? We are going to combine almost everything that we have learned in order to build this calculator, okay? On our previous calculators, we were only using one operation, that is addition. And if you want to use subtraction, you have to come and change it in the code. But now we want to build something that all at a go, that when the user enter the value, the first value and the second value, then our program will ask the user which operation do you want to perform. Is it addition or subtraction or whatsoever? Then the user will input, then you get the response. Okay, something working like a real calculator that you know. Okay, all right. Now, without much ado, let's dive in.
Code Afric. Unlock the future.
Okay, so to begin with, let's begin with a variable of x, and let's also create one for y. All right, so now we will say what? C out. Then we say enter the first value. Then we end the line like this. Then of course we will see in to x. Okay, we will see into x. Then we perform the same task for the second one. We say C out. We say C out, enter the second value. Okay. Now we end the line like this. Then we see in for y. All right, something like this. Now, after the user puts in the first value and the second value, the next thing that we want to ask the user is, what operation do you want to perform? Okay, it could be subtraction, addition, or whatsoever. So we will do what? See out which of the operations do you want to perform? Which of the operations do you want to perform? Let's end it. Now, at this point, we don't want the user to worry much to be searching for where is the multiplication sign, where is the division sign, what is the subtraction sign on that. So we are going to make it so simple that the user will love it. Okay, we are going to tell the user that, okay, now if you want to perform addition, enter 1, enter 2 for subtraction, enter 3 for multiplication, enter 4 for what? Division, something like this. Okay, so that when the user wants to do multiplication, you quickly enter 3. And if you want to do the division, you enter 4. If you want to do the addition, you enter 1, or subtraction, you enter 2, something like this. So let's go ahead and write the code. So we do C out. Okay, then let's end the line, end line. All right, so now when the user enter the value, this one will first appear. Okay, which of the operation do you want to perform? Enter 1 for addition, enter 2 for subtraction, enter 3 for multiplication, and enter 4 for division. So this one also will follows like that. Okay, we could have added this one to this line. Okay, so that it will all show at a go, but as we can see, it will be very long. Okay, the statement will be very long. That is why we have bring the line like this. All right, so as at now, we have created this statement here. Okay, we are seeing out this one. Okay, but we don't have any variable to handle this one. We can see that we have a variable that handle this one, the x and the y, but we don't have any variable to add to handle the operation. Okay, so we have to create that variable too. Okay, so we'll do, and then we do what? How do you call it? Let's call it operator. It could be operation or operator. Okay, it doesn't really matter. Now operator. Okay, then we come here after we've gotten a variable for the operator. Then we have to see in to what? To the operator variable. Okay, operator, something like this. Awesome. Okay, so as it stands now, you can see that we have issue with our code. It is because operator is a reserved keyword. Okay, so we can't use it to set a variable. So now let's use operation rather. Okay, if you have a right way to use, you are good to go. You can use it. Okay, you can use any word at all. It is cool. Okay, so as at now, everything is intact. Though we are not done. Okay, we are yet to write more functionalities to it. But now let's run the code and see how it goes. Okay, now enter the first value. We enter 10. The second value we enter 20. Then which of the operation do you want to perform? Then it continues. Enter 1 for addition, 2 for subtraction, 3 for multiplication, and 4 for division. Awesome, as we wanted. So if I want to perform subtraction or addition, let's say subtraction, I enter 2, and the next line has to follow. But we've not written anything for the next line of code. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, so now what we're going to do is that we are going to create 4 functions. Okay, specifically, we are going to create 4 parameterized functions. Okay, to handle all the 4 operations. That is addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. Okay, we are going to create 4 parameter functions to do that. Okay, And let's go ahead and do that. It's very simple. So here we will do, let's start with addition. So we will do int addition. Okay, it's a function. Okay, so we create an addition like this, followed by our curly braces, and we open it like this. Okay, so this is addition function. Okay, now what we are going to do is that we are going to pass in the argument here. Remember, I said it's a parameter function that we are creating. So how do you want to name it? We can name it anything. We can name it y and z. We can name it a and b and whatsoever. But let's use first value rather. Okay, so first value and second value. Okay, second value. Okay, so something like this. Oh, sorry, first value and second value. Okay, something like this. All right. Now, what we are going to do here is that we are going to return first value plus second value. Okay, so something like this. We are going to return first value plus the second value. All right. Oh, sorry. Why am I keep on making this mistake? FIRST first. Okay, first value. Okay, and return. Okay, all right, so something like this. Okay, so now let's go ahead and create the second one for what? Subtraction. So we do int subtraction. Okay, then followed by our parenthesis and our curly braces. Okay, so now here we are going to pass in another argument. Okay, and remember the variable that we created here, okay, it is inside our parenthesis. Okay, and since it is still inside but not outside, okay, it is still local. Okay, so this is a local variable that we have created here. Okay, so now that we created it locally, other functions will not see it. Okay, other functions cannot see it. So now it doesn't matter if we are using the same name, which is the first value or the second value, because the next function will not see it because it was not declared globally. That is that. So we are good to go. We only have to copy it in like this, and we are good to go. Okay, so now let's go ahead and create our next function, which is what? Multiplication. Our multiplication. Okay, and we will return what? We return our first value times second value. Okay, so something like this. So here will not be addition, but it will rather be what? Subtraction. Okay, now let's go ahead and create the last one, which is the fourth one. Okay, so that one is what? Division. Okay, so division. Okay, so now we pass in the argument. Sorry, we did not pass in the argument. Okay, so we'll copy this argument here. Then we pass in like this. Okay, in the same way, we pass in the same argument here. Then we do for the division. So we return. Okay, so we return the first value divided by what? The second value. All right, so as it's not now, we can see that we have been able to create our four functions, okay? That is for the addition, the subtraction, the multiplication, and for the division. So as it stands now, our four function has been successfully created. And you can see we first created our variable and our operation, okay, before we come to create our functions, okay? So now we are good to go. So now we can see that in this line of code, we've been able to implement both variables and functions. Okay, so now we are going to use if statement. Okay, on our next line of code. So how is it going to be? We'll say if operation, this one. Okay, we are calling the operation here. So if operation is equal to one, okay, which is what? The one is what? We can see one from here. One is the addition. Okay, one is the addition, the first one. So if operation is equal to one, what do you want to do? Then we say what? See out the summation of those value is, sorry, it must be in a quotation. Okay, it's a string, so it must be in a quotation. So the summation of this value is what? Now is what? Addition. Okay, so we will call this function the addition. Okay, so we do addition, and we have to pass in the argument. Let me end the line first. All right, so as it stands now, we have to pass in the argument, which is the first value and the second value. Okay, so now we are going to tame the argument to be what? This one, the x and the y. Okay, so here we will do what? X and y. Okay, so as it starts now, I hope you understand what you're doing. Sorry, just that we declare it outside the scope. So I'm cutting the code. Okay, I'm bringing it inside. Supposed to be inside like this. Okay, yeah, something like this. Now what you are saying is that if the operation, what is the operation now? It is here. So if the operation that the user will enter is equal to one, what is one here? One is the addition. Okay, so if the operation is equal to 1, here we says what, enter 1 for addition. So if the user type 1, then this is what is going to show on the screen. The summation of this value is, we don't want to give the values manually, okay, but the user is typing it, so we are assuming the value to be what, the x and the y. Okay, so it's going to return the x and the y, which we are having here. So the x and the y will be what, the first value plus the second value. Okay, so the first value here plus the second value, that will be the x and the y. Okay, so as it stands now, let's run the code and see if we are getting a result at all. So enter the first value, we say 10, then the second value we say 20. Which of the operation do you want to perform? So we've not written any code for the rest of the operations, with the exception of the 1, which is the addition. So we hit on 1, and when we hit enter, it is giving us the right answer, which is 30. Okay, 10 plus 20 is giving us 30. Awesome. All right, so now that the addition is working successfully, let's work it out for the subtraction and the rest. Okay, so I will only copy the code here. Okay, and I'll paste it here. I'll paste the code here and change the operations. Okay, so the subtraction is 2. So I'll say if the operation is 2, then what do you want to do? You will say what, the subtraction is equal to, now here also will be changed to what, subtraction, as we are seeing it. Now let's create this for the rest. Okay, we have the addition, we have the subtraction. So now let's do for the multiplication, which is 3. Okay, we change here to 3, and we change here to multiplication, then we change the function to multiplication, and let's go ahead and do the same for the last one, which is the division. Okay, so the division is what, 4. Change this one, we didn't change this one, 3. Okay, so we say division, and we change the function also to division. All right, so now I think we are good to go. Okay, so checking it from the top to the down. Okay, so now we can see that we have performed a lot of operations here. Okay, so now we start with the variable, and the variable section is here, and we proceeded with the function, and the function also section is here, and now we are doing what, the if statement. Okay, and the if statement also is here. Okay, now that we have all the operation syntax, let's run the code and see what we have. Okay, so enter your first value, and we said our first value is what, 10. Then enter your second value, then we call our second value to be 20. And which operation do you want to perform? This time we want to perform what, division. So division is 2. Okay, so when I hit 2 and hit enter, we can see that the answer is -10. Now let's perform the next operation. So let's run the code once again, then enter the first value, then we say the first value is 20. Enter the second value, we say the second value is 2, and what operation do you want to perform? 3, which is multiplication. So when I hit on 3, so 20 times 2 will give us what, 40, and we have the right answer here. That is what we have here. All right, now let's check on the next operation, which is what, the division. Now with the division, enter the first value, we enter the first value of 8. Okay, and enter the second value, we enter the second value of 2. Okay, now when I hit enter, what operation do you want to perform? 4, which is the division. When I hit enter, and we have the correct answer of what, 4. Okay, so as it stands now, our code is working perfectly and everything is fine. All right, congratulations. Anyway, so before we end this episode, what we like to do is, if you look at this place, like I said before, we'll be having a problem because, for instance, if you want to perform operation that will give us of a decimal, we are going to have an issue. For instance, let's run the code and see. Let me explain it this way, you understand it. Okay, so let's say the first value that the user input was what, maybe 90.9. We can see that our code ended. Okay, our code ended. It not even permit us to continue. And the reason being is that as I explained earlier, we use an integer variables for the project. Okay, so integer cannot hold decimal numbers. Integers are only for what, whole numbers. That's why we are having this issue. So how do we fix this? It's very simple. You only have to change this one to float or doubled. If you like, you can also use doubled. So we change this one to float. Okay, and also you come here, but please don't change the operation. The operation must still remain an integer. Okay, because the operation counts with what, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, So the operation must remain integer. So we change this one to float. Then we come to the function section, and we also have to change this one to float, and we change this one to float. All the four functions. Okay, the four functions, and then also we change this one to, okay, we change this one to float. We change this one to float. The all of them, the first value and the second value, we change all to float. Then when you scroll down, I think we are good to go. Okay. So after making this few corrections, I think we are too good to go. Let's run the code one more time. Okay, so now enter your first figure. I said 90.9. 90.9. Now we can see that we are being permitted to enter the second figure. Okay, so which I'll go for maybe 20.2. And which operation do you want to perform? I say addition. When I hit enter, we have the correct answer. All right. So everything is intact. Everything is intact. Everything is working perfectly fine. Now we can choose to make this your program more advanced. Okay. When I say advanced, we can add more functionalities to it, which I'm giving to you as an assignment. Okay. So what I would like you to do is, before anything will show on the screen, before you tell the user to enter the value, I would like your program to request of the name of the user. Please enter your name. Okay. So you see out something like that. Please enter your name. After the user performed the operation, then it should congratulate the person. Maybe oh, congratulations, then the person's name. Okay. Try if you can do something like this for me. All right. So till we meet again, happy coding. Let's meet on the next one and learn more. Welcome to this beautiful and awesome lesson. Now, on our previous lesson, we were able to build this calculator, which is looking awesome. Okay. Now, go-to function, it helps in console applications, but it is not vital when you are building a real world applications like games and other applications, because it will give you problems. It might sometimes crash your program. Now, as a programmer, you have to know it. Okay. That is why I'm taking my time to explain it. Okay. So that in case of necessity for you to use it, you can go ahead and use it. So now in this episode, we are looking at what? Go-to function. Okay. Go-to function. Now, let me use a scenario of our project to show you something. Now, we run our code. Let's say a user is using our calculator. Then we ask the user to enter his first value. He entered 20. Enter the second value. He entered 20. Enter the operation that you want to perform. The user go ahead and enter a number like 9. Okay, which is not part of what is being required. Now, a normal circumstance, our code has been crashed. Okay, so is there any possibility that we can write our code that when a user puts in the wrong value, the user will be sent back to perform the right choice or to put in the right value before the code will move on, but it will rather not crash? Okay, in doing this is where we have to go with what the go-to function, which is very, very vital, okay, in situations like this. All right, so we are looking at how we can use the go-to function in order to secure or in order to solve a problem like this. Okay, let's run the code one more time and let me show you again. Enter your first value, be 100, then 10, which is okay. Enter your operation. The user went ahead and enter -1, which is not part of the scope. Okay, our code is going to crash. So is there any possibility for us to fix this? Yes, there's a possibility, and that is what we are going to do in this episode. All right, so if you're ready, let's dive in. Okay, so to begin with the go-to function, at normal circumstance, we say what? If the operation, okay, we are writing against the operation, okay. If operation is less than 1, or we said operation or greater than what? 4. If the input of the user is less than 1 and greater than 5, we are going to tell the user to go back and put in the right figure. And you know, the compiler read our project from the top to the bottom. Okay, the compiler always use our project from the top to the bottom here. Okay, so how do we tell the compiler to go back and reinstituted our code from where we want the user to put in the rightful operation? In a situation whereby we can access or we can command the compiler to still go back to where we want it to go, that is where we use what is called what? The label. So put it in mind. So it is the label that gave us the access to command the compiler to go back and read the code from where we wanted to read it again, because the user did not put in the right values. Okay. All right. So now let's see how we can create the operator. Now we scroll up to where we want the user to be redirected again. Okay. So it will be somewhere here. Yeah, here. Okay. So now you can use any name. Let me just try again. Okay. Like I said, always your naming convention must be meaningful. Okay, you can use any name. You can use perform again, try again, second time, or whatsoever. Then you use this symbol, okay, double dot symbol like this. Anyway, this symbol in programming, it is called binary scope resolution operator. It's funny, right? So you are seeing it as a normal symbol, but in programming, it is called binary scope resolution operator. In the same manner, this symbol, okay, which is what your open and closing brackets, it is called parenthesis in programming. Okay, so as well as this one. So when we say try again, then what is next? Okay, so this is the label. Okay, so now that we have created this one, we are good to go. The next thing to do is that we scroll down, then we come here. Okay, we come to this place, then we say what? Go to. Okay, we say go to. Then we put in our label, which is what? The try again. Okay, try again. It's in capital casing. Try again. Okay, so something like this. Okay, so by doing this, we are telling the compiler that if the user puts in anything which is different from 1 to 4 in the operator section, the compiler should redirect the user to this place. Okay, to this place for the user to try again. Okay, now before anything, let's run our code and see. Okay, so enter your first value. We put in 10. Enter your second value, 10. Then enter your operation. Now I'm going to enter a fancy operation which is not here. Okay, so I put in 9. 9 is not part. Okay, well, when I hit enter, you can see that it says enter 1 for addition, 2 for subtraction, 3 for multiplication, and 4 for what? Division. I'm still stubborn. I still put in 8. It says no, enter 1 to 4. Then I say 6. It says no. So it will not permit you to what? You put in the right figure, which is 1, 2, or 3, or 4. So when I put in 2, you can see that now it give me the answer and I am good to go. All right. So that is that for the go to function. Like I said before, go to function, it is good in console applications. All right. So this is the concept that I wanted to catch before we move on to the next step. All right. Congratulations. Let's meet on the next one and learn more.